All right. Salon, you delivered today. Let's put on some celebratory music, shall we? This one I'm going to not even talk about the band because if you know who they are, you know why I'm not going to say it. All right. Bye-bye, Bernie. He's not fit to captain the Democratic ship if he can't stop chasing the great white male. To the extent the Democrats are looking for their progressive soul, Senator Bernie Sanders is not where they should be fixing their gaze. Sanders is clear that he is not a Democrat, except that when he needs to be one in order to run for president, yet he is demanding that the Democratic Party head for what Rebecca Traister last week called third-way centrist bullshit. Economic populism and what are commonly erroneously and dismissively referred to as social issues, such as reproductive rights, immigration reform, and civil rights for people of color and those who have disabilities, people of all faiths, LGBT people, and women, are indivisible. Sanders routinely demonstrates his own lack of progressive values by dividing them. There is no economic populism without abortion rights and civil rights. No one can have economic justice if he or she doesn't have fundamental rights. Yet Sanders has made it plain that abortion rights are negotiable and brushes off identity politics. He consistently argues that his values and his alone should define what is to be progressive, which can't help but remind one of Donald Trump's unilateral defining of terms. Further, Sanders routinely divides matters of race and gender and class, which again cannot be untwined, by discussing the pain and needs of working class voters and perpetuating the dangerous myth that Democrats have ignored them. Sanders has insisted that Democrats have failed to reach these voters, while dismissing the fact that 75% of working class voters of color voted for Clinton, not Trump, last year. The Democratic Party, which has a deeply progressive platform and whose candidate won the popular vote by 3 million and lost the Electoral College tally by only 77,000 votes in just 3 states, need not look for its soul. Its soul is right there in its platform and its voters, not in Sanders' white male dog whistle rhetoric. The Democratic Party should not I can't believe Bernie Sanders is using the white male dog whistle. Yo, dog, you hear that? Okay, sorry, that's it. Is he calling R.A. the Rugged Man? Yo, dog? No, sorry, that's not. That guy's probably violent. The Democratic Party should not erase its voters and their clear message. By touting Bernie Sanders, however, who despised his momentary popularity, was trounced in Democratic primaries by 3.7 million votes, it is doing just that. Senator Sanders, we are not the party of the great white male, nor should we try to be. Democrats should instead focus on translating how inclusion translates into economic advancement and on addressing white racism, sexism, and xenophobia. Clearly major factors in the 2016 election. The party should focus, as Steve Phillips wrote in the New York Times, on, quote, re-inspiring those whites who drifted to third-party candidates, and then focusing on the ample opportunities in the Southwest and the South, where demographics favor the successful message of inclusion that the party championed last year. The Democrats should, of course, also tighten their economic message and link it to the broader issues. This is just great. I just love punk rock and salon.com. This is great. Issues of identity rights and opportunity and listen to and respond to voters disillusioned with corporate and special interest money in our electoral process. They should do this. Work along with fighting against voter suppression, another major factor in the current electoral schema, and increasing voter registration and get out the vote efforts while fighting the scourge of Republican gerrymandering. It is long past time to sideline Sanders and his irresponsible and divisive narrative of white economic populism and move into that critical work. Sanders has most recently set out to define what it is to be progressive by refusing to campaign for Democrat Jon Ossoff. In his contested congressional race in Georgia's 6th congressional district, he's not a progressive, Sanders told the Washington Post about Ossoff, who is pro-choice, supports increasing the minimum wage, is anti-war, and supports immigration reform. Meanwhile, Sanders set off to campaign with Heath Mello, the Democratic nominee for mayor of Omaha, who has a strong anti-choice record, including having introduced legislation restricting abortion, and was quick to call Mello a progressive. With pressure mounting after much outcry from the public and the media regarding Sanders' active support of Mello, the senator subsequently endorsed Ossoff in his runoff, but continues to defend his support of Mello. On numerous occasions, Sanders has made it clear that to him, reproductive rights are negotiable. As feminist writer Jill Filipovic wrote last month, after Sanders publicly said that the Democrats should be flexible about candidates who aren't pro-choice, even some on the self-proclaimed socialist left, like Sanders, now seem willing to sell out abortion rights in pursuit of the elusive vote of the working-class white man. There's no evidence that moving right on abortion will gain Democratic votes, but it's an appeal to the same dynamic Trump ran on, a bygone America, the symbol of which is the white factory man, able to support his children, and the stay-at-home wife on the salary he earned doing good, honest work with his hands. Being pro-choice is not an optional part of being a progressive. Full stop! There is no justice for women. There is no economic justice for women without the right to control their reproductive lives. The right to have an abortion is not a social issue. It is an issue of fundamental rights. It is a matter of economic rights. One is not a progressive if not pro-choice. While there have been and will continue to be anti-choice Democratic candidates at every level, they are not progressives. And for Sanders to describe Mello as such is wrong. While Mello claims that as mayor, he would do nothing to obstruct choice, NARAL issued a sharp critique in response to Sanders's and Democratic Party leadership's campaigning for Mello. More at salon.com. I just thought this was delicious. Just delicious. The struggle bus is going full speed and fucking Bernie Sanders is under it. Bam. Loving it. Loving it. Just keep going, Democrats. Keep it progressive. Get more progressive. Oh, classic.